Hey, what's going on? This is the Body Punch Podcast, and my name is Naz. Let's talk about Paddy Pimblett. When we were discussing this card, Derek Brunson versus Darren Till, UFC Fight Night, it was September 4th. A big name on the card was Paddy the Baddy Pimblett. He was a rising star in Cage Warriors over there in the UK or in Europe. And he was just a massive name showcasing his talents in the US for the first time. He came out victorious in his fight against Luigi. I'm not even going to try his last name, but he came out and really put it on Luigi. Unfortunately, he did have some, honestly, it was, he took a really bad strike to the face, really bad punch to the face, and you could hear it on the broadcast, how loud it was, how ferocious it was. The commentators kept on talking about how Paddy kept his chin up while striking. I talked about this in the pre-fight show, but Paddy is known for his ground game, his submissions. If you look at his record, you see a lot of submissions. You see some ground and pound. If you look on Typology, you see some ground and pound finishes, some rear naked chokes, unanimous decisions, but it's a lot of submissions. Really known for his submission game, also competing in a couple of jiu-jitsu tournaments and winning those. He lost his last one against Stevie Ray, but he's really well known for his ground game. And throughout his Cage Warriors career, I've watched a couple of his old fights. He's known to keep his chin way up high, but he keeps his hands down real low, and it allows him to get off strikes as quick as possible. It looks like this part of his career hit the gap between his jiu-jitsu and his striking game is coming to a head. It's coming together. But this is just the first fight in his UFC career, and I wanted to talk about it on this podcast because it is a massive stage for him. It's a big stage. He's got a lot of following behind him. He had a lot of social media followers. I think his page got deleted on Instagram or something like that. He had to restart. But you can see, even with the small amount of crowd that was there, they were egging him on. Of course, they love his entrance, iconic music, great entrance music with the remix going on there. But he's going to be a big star. Like he talked about, he might be the next cash cow coming out of Europe. And he's just got that personality. He can talk on the mic. He's great for all of that. But for the next fight in his career, he's really got to improve some of the stuff that the commentators were really picking up on. Michael Bisping, John Anik, and DC, talking about the striking, talking about how maybe he should take it to the ground quicker. There was a lot of things that could be worked on, but for the main point that I wanted to talk about in this podcast was the resiliency that was shown by Paddy to get a punch, to eat a punch like that from a striker who looked like he was very comfortable in there. Luigi looked like he was very comfortable in there. He looked like he was a seasoned striker in MMA, not a seasoned, Muay Thai or kickboxing champion, but he looked like he's been in the cage, which he has a number of times before. And even though he's young in his career, he looked like he's been in there. And for Paddy to take a shot like that and to come back and win the fight shows the resiliency, and it shows the heart that he has. It shows that he's been in there for a lot longer in his amateur career, which was the main reason why he didn't come to the UFC as quick as he could have. He got offers before from the UFC to join, but he said, no, I need to wait. I need to gain experience. I need to grow as a fighter in Cage Warriors and get his kind of lumps and bruises taken out before joining the UFC, which he does have 3 losses on his career. MMA is different. It's not like boxing where a loss ends your whole career almost, and it derails it. In MMA and in the UFC especially, if you have a loss, it's no big deal. It's just a growing experience. You do have people like Khabib Nurmagomedov, who we all know has never lost a fight, and that just makes him even more impressive and amazing. But Paddy, the Baddy Pimblett, really focused on his career, really smoothed out the edges. He's still got some edges to smooth out with his striking. We didn't see much of the ground game. We didn't see the ground game at all in this fight, and in the UFC, and especially against Luigi, who I have seen fight before, who we all seen fight before. He does have some ground game, and that could have been something that would have been shown off in this fight. But in this 155-pound division that this fight took place at, I think this is a great addition. It's adding to the Shark Tank at that 155-pound division. From top to bottom, you got Conor McGregor, you got Dustin Poirier, Tony Ferguson, Justin Gaethje. There's so many names in this 155-pound division. It's the premier division. At one point, people were saying that the 135-pound division was the it division, but I still think that 155, with all the names there, is still the premier division in the UFC. It's the biggest. It's just with the names, the caliber of fighters that are there. Every fight, number 5 could be number 1. That's how deep that division is. Number 10 could go after number 5, or vice versa, whatever you want, whatever mixture of fights that you make in this 155-pound division, either one of them could win. The lower ranked fighter could beat the higher ranked fighter, and it's just a tough division to be in. And adding Paddy in this division is going to be great. Another name, another person that can talk on the mic, hype up the fights. And really, he got his chin tested in this one. And this is another thing that I wanted to talk about in this podcast, is the fact that you only have a couple of those hard hits that you can take. There's some fighters that are out there that take hard punches, and that's what they're known for in their career. But after a little while, those punches, they accumulate. Age becomes a factor. It becomes a factor of how much you're training in your later age. There's a lot of things that could happen, and to rely on your chin like that is obviously not the best thing to do. But to have it tested out is a good thing. It's to show resiliency. It shows a lot of character when Paddy steps in there, that he's not going to back down, even taking a hard shot like that. The mics in the UFC picked it up perfectly. I could hear it. It was a loud thump to the head. And honestly, the main thing for me is that, yes, he's got to work on his striking. He's got to work on a bunch of stuff. But for him to take a shot like that and come back, we don't have much information about him in the UFC right now. We just know that at the beginning of the first round, he was almost getting eaten up on the feet. Luigi was coming at him straight forward. He really wanted to interrupt the party that Paddy had for his US debut, and he really went after him. And for Paddy to come back and just put it on Luigi like that is great to see. It's great to see when the hype is a little bit real. Obviously, we got to see a lot more. This fight was really short. It ended in the first round. But to be on the stage of the opening main event fight is also a great sign as well. The pressure was on Paddy. I've seen European fighters fly to the US, and because they don't have their whole they're not as comfortable. They don't have their gym that they train at. They don't have a bunch of stuff that they're used to back home, and they might miss something. They might not eat perfectly. They might not train perfectly. It's hard. These guys are training out of hotel rooms and training at gyms that they've never been to. So for all of this to come together, and for the performance that we saw, I thought it was good. Obviously, a lot of things to work on, but it's great to see a young face in the UFC at the age of, I think he's 26 years old, young guy. He's got the charisma like a veteran, and for him to climb these ranks is great, and especially for the UK audience to back this guy and to, have someone that they can follow, especially after the loss of Darren Till there. They need another star attraction. We got Tom Aspinall, we got all these European or UK fighters, but for Paddy the Baddy, for him to grab the mic and talk the way that he does and have the swagger the way that he does, he's really someone that they can back. And hopefully we don't know his next fight. He said that he's ready for anybody. He's ready to fight at any time, anywhere. So that's a good attitude to have. He really wanted to take in the moment with this fight after it. And, obviously he was really hyped for this fight. You could see it with the UFC cameras behind the scenes and how excited he was. So great to see this. Great to see when the hype is somewhat real. And it was just a fun night of fights, especially the start time. It was amazing. The start time and the way that it ended, it was amazing. The timing. They should, I think MMA Fighting, they had their podcast and they were talking about how they should maybe do this once a month to cater to other audiences. And I agree with them. If they can do it once a month with the amount of fights that they're putting on, that'd be amazing. So thank you for listening to this podcast. I really appreciate it. If you could like, subscribe, hit the bell notification, that'd be amazing. If you're listening to this on the different podcast networks, that'd be great. That is great. And give a like, review, all that good stuff on there. Really appreciate it. This has been the Body Punch Podcast. My name is Naz. Bye.